Welcome to Between the Lines.
The podcast about what you like to read.
Our guest today is Miss Johnson, the head of the school,
And your hosts today are Grace Heston.
and Jehu Dyer. What are your top three favourite books?
Goodness me, I found this really difficult to choose. I love reading. Reading is my way of escaping. So I'm going to give you three books that I've really enjoyed in the last year because I've read an awful lot of books over my lifetime. So I'm going to start off with a book called The Four Winds, and that's by somebody called Kristin Hannah, and I believe that's going to be made into a film soon. And that is about a severe drought in America in about the 1920s and how people overcame the drought and the oppression that came with it. So that probably doesn't sound very exciting to you, but the way that it was written was exceptional, and the story that threaded through it. Another book that I've really enjoyed in the last year as well is something called All My Mothers, and that was, I'm just trying to remember, that was Joanna somebody that wrote that book, so bear with me, I can't remember her surname now, Joanna Glenn, and that was a fiction, and it was all about a particular character, and it was talking about the significant females in her life and how she regarded them as her mothers, hence the term All My Mothers. And then, I love fiction, but another little thing about me is I love cooking, and I love nice restaurants, and I have really enjoyed a book called Menus That Made History. And in that book, I've actually got this one as a hard copy, so I read a mixture of Kindle and actual books. That's got the menus that have been served at particular historical events. So if I give an example, I'm just trying to think of one of those events. One was when Barack Obama became president of the US, and after his inauguration, and it's all about the menu, what they ate, what wines they drank as well. It usually has the guests there, who the head chef is too, and I just find that really interesting.
A very nice selection.
Thank you.
What's your favourite genre of book?
Oh, well, I love fiction. So, and I love modern fiction. I love historic fiction as well. It's probably better if I say what I don't like. I don't like fantasy, so I'm sorry to anybody that loves fantasy, and I don't like sci-fi. But my daughter's trying to convert me onto some fantasy at the moment. But I have to say, I love books that give me an insight into everyday life. That's what I particularly enjoy.
Lots of genres there to pick.
There are, yes.
Have you got any book recommendations?
Oh, goodness me. I could probably recommend a book a day for the next 10 years to people. Have I got any book recommendations? I was thinking actually this morning, before I came along, I was thinking about what book I would recommend to your age group or younger actually. And one of my favourite authors from my own childhood, I've got, as you might expect from listening to this one, I've got a whole mixture. So I loved Roald Dahl, and probably one of my favourites was Fantastic Mr. Fox, and I can almost recite that still. Absolutely loved that. Michelle Magorian was an author that I really enjoyed. She wrote a book called Back Home, and I really enjoyed that when I was growing up, and that would be perfect for year 7 and 8. That's possibly in your library too. I enjoyed more recently, and this sounds a bit odd, enjoyed it, but the book called Wonder, and that's been made into a film now as well. So that was about a boy that had disabilities and a facial disfigurement, and his journey about how he made sure that he just got on with life and resilience and in school. And I'm absolutely sure there'll be a copy of that in the school library without a doubt. It's a great read for you guys. And what I'm really interested in is there's an author called Judy Blume, and you've heard of Judy Blume, have you? Do you read her books? No. Okay. Well, growing up, I loved a Judy Blume book, and just recently she's been in the press a lot about how influential she was for my generation growing up when perhaps there were things that you didn't talk about quite as much at home. And a lot of people can resonate with that. And she's actually being applauded at the moment for the work she's done, and a film has been written about her and how inspiring her writing was. So yeah, and a bit more food for thought in terms of book recommendations for you there.
That's a good term of book recommendations for us. Thank you. You have been listening to Between the Lines.
Our guest was Miss Johnson.
Your engineer is Cole.
Your presenters were Grace Seston and me, Jehu Dyer.
Our producer is Miss Wallace.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for listening.
listening.